Hello everyone, we're Team Green Earth, and this is our recommendation report for the reduction of CO2 emissions by use of a cover crop. At the current pace of global average temperature rise, extinction of approximately half of all plants and animals on Earth is a very real threat. This rate of extinction will have detrimental effects on planet Earth and the human race. The photo on the left shows a thriving coral reef taken approximately 4 years ago. The picture on the right shows a coral reef that has been destroyed due to coral bleaching. Coral bleaching has affected approximately 50% of Earth's coral reefs. Many people may be wondering what carbon dioxide actually is and how it affects the Earth's atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is also known as CO2. It's a gas that is present in the Earth's atmosphere and traps heat in the atmosphere. CO2 is found in fossil fuel deposits, as well as rocks, oceans, and all living things. Fossil fuels are a natural fuel source that is formed in the geological past from the remains of living organisms. Mining for fossil fuels has resulted in vast amounts of CO2 being released into the air, which has attributed to climate change. Now you may ask yourself, how is CO2 actually affecting the atmosphere? CO2 that's released in the atmosphere has caused the Earth to deviate from its natural greenhouse cycle into dangerously warm temperatures. This is also known as climate change. Climate change is not uniform, but it does affect everyone and everything. Some effects that have already been seen are loss of sea ice and rise of sea level, intense heat waves, early flowering of trees, and 50% of the world's coral reefs have been killed due to coral bleaching. Climate change partially caused by CO2 emissions can have a devastating and everlasting effect on our environment. Future effects have been predicted to be deadly heat waves, changes in precipitation patterns, other extreme changes in weather, a 1 to 4 foot rise in sea level, and the Arctic becoming free of sea ice. So what is the problem and what can we do to change it? The problem right now, our CO2 emissions are too high. They're one of the leading causes of global warming. Evidence of climate change includes global temperature rise, warming oceans, sea level rise, shrinking ice sheets, and ocean acidification. High amounts of CO2 emissions are deemed extremely likely to be the result of human activity, such as agriculture and industry. Agriculture is one of the leading preventable sources of CO2 emission, which is what we will talk about today. Here is a graph of greenhouse gas emissions by sector. The highest sector for gas emission is agriculture at 24%, which is why we are working so hard to find a preventable solution to the gas emissions caused by agriculture. Here is a graph of the different types of greenhouse gas emissions by percentage. Carbon dioxide is by far the most emitted greenhouse gas at 82%, followed by methane at 10%. So what can we do to help mitigate the harmful effects of CO2 caused by agriculture? Well, Team Green Earth recommends the implementation of a cover crop. Cover crops absorb carbon dioxide from the air until wilting and decomposition. By ensuring most carbon is stored underground rather than released in the atmosphere, a temperature regulation system is achieved. Soil organic carbon is essential to soil productivity and fertility, making used land more effective in fighting the CO2 emission issue through the cover crop method. Fresh organic matter allows a microbial enhancement in the soil's biological activity through the decomposition of biomass above and underground. Known as regenerative agriculture, cover crops may be planted during crop rotation or rest, and in combination with primary crop, which as well as reduces erosion and highly harmful agricultural runoff. Costs of implementation is very low due to cover crops consisting of mixed crops such as wheat, barley, peas, clovers, and other various crops. Affordable costs may make it easy for farmers to enhance their carbon storage potential on a local level. The grown cover crop may be used for consumer purposes, which produces the ideal return on investment. Here's how we will implement this process. Implementation starts just after harvest. You can start by planting a cover crop in fields which extracts the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. Once the cover crop has extracted CO2, it will die, leaving behind more fertile soil. Here's the budget. The budget is highly dependent on farm size. A 1,200 acre farm, which is the average farm size, would cost roughly $12,000 for a cover crop, plus $12,000 additional to initiate the harvest, making it highly affordable and effective. To summarize what we have talked about today, 97% of scientists agree climate change is due to human activity. Without preventative measures, CO2 emission will cause irreversible damage to our planet. Cover crops are highly feasible and effective preventative measures that can be taken to reduce CO2 emissions through agriculture. Not only are they beneficial for the environment, but also beneficial for farmers because of the fertile soil they produce. So now ask yourself, what kind of world would you want your children to grow up in? The one on the left or the one on the right? Here are the sources for today's presentation. At this time, we would like to thank the audience for their attention and open the floor for any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this presentation. Thank you.